And we hope you at home had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I know you cooked a turkey.
I did. I made a turkey. So-so. The mac and cheese, though. That's
my mom handled the turkey. I hosted at mine, but my family was still here. I did the mac and cheese and the mashed potatoes, which I think were the hit.
I think mac and cheese should be the official Thanksgiving,
I know, right?
Not turkey.
Yeah, I know. I totally agree with you. We hope you guys totally enjoyed your holiday at home and this weekend with your family. Now, from the Macys Thanksgiving Day Parade, which many of you probably watched, to those family gatherings you hopefully had, and football, people across the country were able to get back to many of those Thanksgiving Day traditions that have been put on pause due to COVID.
Yeah, but this morning, cases are climbing once again in many parts of the country. NBC News correspondent Gabe Gutierrez has the latest.
Savannah and Stephen, good morning. New COVID cases have risen at least 10% in 35 states. But here in New York City, at least one sign of a return to normalcy.
They floated across tightly packed streets, beacons of Americana. This year, symbols of triumph.
Very emotional, incredibly emotional. When I saw that turkey come down, I just burst into tears. I thought of everything New Yorkers have gone through, everything Americans have gone through the last 2 years, but this brings us back.
The Macys Thanksgiving Day Parade drawing thousands of onlookers for the first time since the pandemic began.
Last year, this parade was only a block long and a very small crowd. Things have changed.
It has been very stressful. And to be here right now is definitely a blessing.
And yet, for some, the stress is not over yet, with COVID cases now rising in parts of the Midwest and the Northeast. In Michigan, 2 military medical teams are set to arrive next week to help overwhelmed hospitals. In Massachusetts, the governor has ordered facilities with bed shortages to cancel elective surgeries starting next week.
As a healthcare worker, really devastating to have to make people wait for so long to get care that they really do need.
In Maine, similar measures.
To me, it's a really big deal.
Wendy Perkins' 14-year-old daughter Emily has autism and is waiting for an endoscopy.
To get this close to the finish line and have them really pretty much tell us the race is over, I feel very defeated.
Remarkably, Erie County, New York just recorded its highest daily number of COVID cases ever.
Unfortunately, we are going in the wrong direction, and this is the worst direction we've ever had.
But hospitalizations among those who are vaccinated and younger are still rare. In Minnesota, for example, the death rate for fully vaccinated people under 50 during the Delta surge was 0.0 per 100,000 people.
And as for air travel getting back to normal, the TSA just reported that it screened about 2.3 million passengers on Wednesday, the highest level since the pandemic began, but just shy of 2019. Savannah, Stephen?
All right, Gabe, thank you so much.
But with cases rising in parts of the country, it's not just those big box stores that are seeing long lines this Black Friday. It's also COVID testing sites. NBC News reporter Gary Grumbach joins us now from a testing site in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, that's just north of Philadelphia, an area seeing a major increase in those cases in just the past 2 weeks. What exactly are we talking about, Gary?
Hey there, Stephen. Yes, so much of the early part of this pandemic was about getting resources out to where people are. This is a perfect example of that. This is a county-run COVID testing site here in Montgomery County, and it's actually a former Petco that has been turned into a COVID testing site. And it's a good thing this is here because across the state of Pennsylvania, we're seeing about 6,000 new COVID cases every single day. That's 60% more than what we saw just 2 weeks ago. And here in Montgomery County, it's about 200 cases every day, mostly among the 40% of the county that is still to be vaccinated. So that's a significant portion here. And it's also, you know, there's places like this don't open till 9 a.m. But we're also seeing the first 2 hours of appointments fully booked up for today. Stephen?
Well, already fully booked. Have health experts said what they think is behind this latest spike?
So I think simply it's getting cold. In places that we're seeing the spikes in the Northeast, in the Midwest, it's cold out. People are a whole lot less willing to go out to a restaurant and eat outside or to hang out on their back porch without maybe a heater along with them. So they're more willing, because they may be vaccinated, to take the risk and be inside. Here's what Dr. Kavita Patel had to say about some other thoughts.
There's 3 driving factors for the increase in cases. A high unvaccination rate still in parts of the country. Number 2, a majority of the new cases are children who are also unvaccinated. And then 3, we're seeing these cases cropping up in social settings. People want to see each other. They want to eat. They want to dine together. They're not wearing masks, and that can contribute to spread pretty quickly.
Now, it's important to remember anything that Americans were up to last night in terms of gatherings won't be seen in a COVID test until Monday or Tuesday at the earliest. Stephen?
And Gary, with the demand going up for these tests, you mentioned people already lining up. Are local leaders there concerned about a shortage in those tests?
So a shortage, no, but how you get the test is certainly different. Gone are the days of those mass testing sites that we saw, the long, winding lines of cars across the country last summer and last year. Now they're saying you can get the COVID test anywhere, at a place like this, or at your local pharmacy where you can fill appointments. But I'll tell you, just anecdotally, finding those appointments in some of those pharmacies is getting a lot harder to do. Stephen?
It's like a blast from the past. All right, Gary, thanks for that update.
Now, the World Health Organization is holding an emergency meeting today over a new heavily mutated COVID-19 variant in South Africa.
Yeah, a whole lot of concern over this. Only a few cases have been detected so far, but that so far unnamed variant is sparking fears of another global surge and concern over the effectiveness of the current vaccines. NBC News global correspondent Raf Sanchez joins us now from Tel Aviv with the very latest. This isn't the news we want to hear right after Thanksgiving. Raf.
Stephen, it's absolutely not. The UK government is saying this is the most significant variant they have seen to date, which means it is the most mutated variant we've seen so far. It is the one that is the most different from the original Wuhan strain. Now, it is going to be probably some weeks before we really understand what's the real world effect of these variations. But governments around the world are suggesting it is likely that this new variant will turn out to be more transmissible than the Delta variant, which of course surged in the U.S. and has surged all around the world. The UK, among a number of countries not taking any chances. The UK Health Secretary was speaking about this new variant this morning. Take a listen to what he had to say.
The early indications we have of this variant is that it may be more transmissible than the Delta variant, and the vaccines that we currently have may be less effective against it.
Now, the WHO is meeting today in Geneva to discuss this new variant. Right now, it's known only as B11529. But if it is declared to be a variant of major concern, they will give it a Greek alphabet name like Alpha, like Delta, and that is what we will end up calling this new variant, guys.
Hey, Raf, so you mentioned that concern in the UK. We just heard from that official there mentioning these early indications that it needs to be taken seriously. In fact, the UK has now suspended flights to 6 South African countries today. Do you think we could see similar announcements in the next few days? Anything else that we'll see in terms of a global response?
Yeah, exactly. We're already starting to see travel restrictions in the UK, in Europe, in Asia. Here in Israel, they are also cutting off flights from South Africa and from 5 other southern African nations. That's because there has already been one confirmed case of this new variant found here in Israel. That was in a traveler who recently returned from Malawi. There are 2 other suspected cases here in Israel. All 3 of those people are in isolation right now. They are fully vaccinated, which is not something we should necessarily draw too many conclusions from. As with the Delta variant, we've seen that fully vaccinated people can get it, guys.
So much of this information is still preliminary, Raf. So a question on pretty much everyone's mind is just how concerned should we be?
Yeah, that is the big question, and it's one that we don't have a great answer to right now. As we've said, the UK and Israel are suggesting that this new variant may be more transmissible than the Delta variant, but there are a number of questions outstanding we don't have good answers to. Is it more resistant to vaccines, and will it cause you to get sicker if you get it? It's likely to be some weeks at minimum before we have a really good handle on that. What I will say is the number of cases detected so far, pretty limited, only a few dozen in a number of countries. But of course, these variants can start small and rise to a global scale, guys.
Absolutely.
Important questions there. Raf reporting for us from Tel Aviv. Thanks.
Thank you, Raf. Now let's bring in NBC News medical contributor Dr. Kavita Patel. Dr. Patel, good morning. Always great to have you. So I think, of course, we're all extremely weary of variants after being so impacted by the Delta variant. And we just heard the UK health secretary there say that early indications point to this potentially being more transmissible than the Delta variant. We hear the words heavily mutated, an emergency meeting. It doesn't sound good. What do we know about it so far? Are you concerned, and anything that we should be doing now to stay safe and stay ahead of this?
Well, Savannah, I'm always concerned when I feel like the virus has this lottery ticket and that we're kind of playing this, Russian roulette game against it. And I don't like our odds when I think about how we've stalled in vaccinations. Having said that, I think just to speak to kind of what we were discussing in the previous segment, I think there's a lot of factors that we can control. The reason this variant seems to be of great concern, as I was reading about the chemistry of the virus itself, about 30 mutations on the spike protein. That's compared to only 2 on the Delta mutation that are of significant concern. So I think that's why you've seen all this activity. However, I have optimism that our vaccines can hold if we can get enough people vaccinated. But again, time will tell. Until then, get vaccinated, and that's the best defense.
All right, there you heard it from Dr. Patel. So now we are seeing cases rise in parts of this country here, right as we're, of course, in the heart of the holiday season. Of course, this year is different than last year since we do have vaccines. And I think if we're just being real here, I mean, this was widely felt to be a sort of return to normal, almost a post-pandemic holiday, but we're still very much dealing with this virus despite people getting together with family. Are you concerned about a post-Thanksgiving spike in a few weeks?
Yeah, and I think we should set expectations that we will see a continuation of increases in cases, and it might move, as we talked about, Midwest, Northeast. We might see other regions that aren't seeing an increase get an increase kind of post-holiday. But I just want to reassure people, it will be nowhere near what we saw a year ago, to your point, Savannah, when we didn't have vaccines. And what we're hoping is we have a decoupling, Savannah, of cases that increase but do not lead to the same proportion of hospitalizations and deaths. That will be critical in kind of telling us that we're creating a difference based on vaccination.
Especially as we finish out this holiday season with much of it left. Dr. Patel, I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving with your family. We're grateful for you here at Morning News Now. Good to see you.
Thank you, you too.
Well, Thanksgiving is over, so of course today is Black Friday, the traditional start of the holiday shopping season. But between the rising costs and supply chain slowdowns this year, it's expected to look a little different. NBC News business and technology correspondent Jolene Kin explains what shoppers are in for.
The mad dash for deals this Thanksgiving weekend is revealing a tale of 2 holiday seasons.
I hope the discounts are as good this year as they are in the past.
Americans plan to shell out up to $859 billion on gifts and beyond, which would break records. Online shopping expected to spike 10% compared to last year as millions order early to beat the December rush.
I'm going to do more of my shopping in online for sure.
But the big numbers don't mean everyone will be spending big. High-income households will spend 5 times more than lower-income households this season. Hit hard by rising food and gas prices, a record 11.5% of shoppers plan to spend absolutely nothing on gifts this year. For those able to shop, be prepared to see more consumers venturing out in person this weekend.
The energy is different. You know, people are ready to come back.
Do you think you're going to have more shoppers in person?
Yeah, the supply chain is definitely impacting both online and brick and mortar. But the key is when you can shop in person, you can take it home with you right in that moment in time. That instant gratification is so important for shoppers.
Thank you so much.
And look for special incentives if you hit stores.
When you go into a store, you may get extra things, maybe a free gift card with a purchase, free gift wrap. And then, of course, you have the holiday music and the whole kind of vibe as well. But retailers really do want that foot traffic in the stores.
The most popular item landing in carts and bags is clothing, with consumers expected to spend $304 on average. That huge demand made worse by supply chain slowdowns, causing shortages at retailers like Gap and Nordstrom Rack. A sign that as shoppers make their comeback, stores are still scrambling to deliver that holiday magic. Jolene Kent, NBC News, Bloomington, Minnesota.
Good info there. Jolene Kent, thanks.
Now, many people are spending this Black Friday heading to the mall, as we were just talking about, to take advantage of deals and doorbusters.
Yeah, but will those concerns of higher costs deter shoppers today? NBC News correspondent Ellison Barber joins us now from Town Center at Cobb in Kennesaw, Georgia, where shoppers will make their way this morning. Ellison, good morning.
Hey, good morning to you guys. Not just inside a mall, outside of where Santa will be in a few hours. To give you a sense of how people are shopping differently this year, at this mall, they tell us that they often look at the number of photos they sell with Santa to get a sense of how many people are showing up to shop on the holidays. Santa has been here for about a week, and they said looking at just the Santa photo sales from the first week this year, they have surpassed what they did pre-pandemic 2019, the first week of Santa photos. So they say this year, guys, they are seeing a lot more people decide to shop in person, and that a lot of the drive behind that is concern about supply chain issues, but also people just feeling like they want to get out after what has been a really difficult over a year plus, 2 years, whatever we're at now with the pandemic. Savannah, Stephen?
Absolutely. Okay, first of all, I'm really happy to hear that that mall has not been impacted by the Santa shortage, which we've also been reporting on. So that's great news for those people that live near that mall, for little kids there. Other supply chain issues, obviously, we've been reporting on so much, impacting shopping, impacting wait times, delays, all this type of stuff. Are people there concerned about any of that as they head out for holiday shopping?
Yeah, they are, you know, and interestingly, was speaking to people who work at this mall, the property manager, they think that those issues are actually going to benefit brick and mortar stores because consumers, shoppers are so aware of it. It's so well publicized. People are paying attention to it, and they are making decisions based on the fact that they know it could take a little longer to get what they need. If they order something and it's the wrong size, it could take a lot longer to send it back and get a new one. So because of that, people are saying, hey, let's just go and do it the old-fashioned way. And we spoke to a lot of people, young people even this morning, who said they normally don't shop in person. They normally don't shop in person on Black Friday. But this year, in part because of concerns over those supply chain issues, they decided to get up early and come inside. Listen. We hear so much of people talking about supply chain issues, labor shortages, delays, bottlenecking, all that sort of stuff. Is that impacting how you shop this year?
Yes. Yes, for real, because like it's a shortage of everything. I don't feel like it's been affecting me because the store is full. Everything looks open, so, and there's less people out, which is good for me.
Do you normally shop Black Friday?
No, this is my first year.
Why did you want to do it this year?
I wanted to give out to my family and give them gifts and everything.
So in terms of feet in the mall, they are expecting, across the country, malls are expecting somewhere between 8 to 10% more people to shop in person for retail. This mall specifically, they tell us that they kind of are going back and looking at 2019 because 2020, like many places, wasn't a great year for them in terms of sales. And they say right now they are expecting 2 to 3% more shoppers in person, more retail sales than they saw back in 2019. Guys?
Just throw 2020 out. I'm all for that, Allison. Know, really. And we heard from those shoppers there, talking to them. Yes, that's what I'm all about. Well, what is on the top of many of these shopping lists we've been seeing this season?
So I heard a lot of shoes, kind of standard things, but electronics are obviously a really big thing, especially for early shoppers. People hope and tend to look for deals in that regard. Jolene Kent reports on this a lot of times, and that is something that people are really looking forward to trying to pick up.
Yeah, I think most of the people that are in that line as doors open, especially on Black Friday, are looking for the latest video game console or computer or TV, something like that. All right, Ellison, thank you so much. Great to see you. Happy holidays.
You bet. Thanks,
all right,
guys.
Ellison, thanks. Well, let's get a check on your morning news now weather on this day after Thanksgiving.
Janessa Webb is with us this morning. Hey, Janessa, how are you?
Hi, good morning. You know, I was thinking I need to get to the mall. The shoes are definitely a priority.
That's right.
And if you are across northern New England, snow is coming, so snow boots are definitely going to be handy as we go into your rest of your holiday weekend. You can see the front right now. It's making its way across the Raleigh-Durham area, Washington, D.C. to New York City, but behind the front is snow, and that's why we have winter weather alerts. They're expanding across this area. It will be lake enhanced, but we could see some snowfall rates of about 1 inch per hour, and that's going to allow some good amount of accumulation. So it's going to disrupt travel across northern New England into interior sections of New York. Then we'll watch another front make its way in for your Saturday. So look at some of these alerts: winter storm warnings, winter storm watches, and advisories. They're currently in place across this area, and that's going to last until about Sunday afternoon. Snow totals, if you're a ski fan, get out there and enjoy it. We're talking at least 1 foot of snow in some areas, but most spots will see it locally up to 2 to 4 inches. Also, it's very cold for my friends down in Georgia to the deep south. They are not used to this. These temperatures, they are falling down to the upper 20s in some spots to low 30s. So some frigid air that's currently in place. So everybody's enjoying a 4-day weekend here, except us. We're here. And we are tracking a little bit of snow for the Great Lakes, scattered rain showers for the deep south, and some fire danger. We are seeing relative humidity down to about 2% across San Diego to Los Angeles, so we're going to watch this. Also, some slick travel in effect for the Great Lakes to the northeast as we go into your Sunday.
All right, Janessa, thank you so much.
Okay.
See you in a little bit.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.